I gotta tell you, Nicholas. Usually, I let you, do the plugging. But I gotta say, uh,
Damn right. Yeah.
that
Now you
was weird.
guys know how this show really
Now,
works.
now that was weird. Okay, I was,
After all the conversation we just had, I don't fucking blame you for starting off
I,
weird.
I gotta say, we just had just a tremendous chat. We can't wait to. Should I tell the people?
Tell him.
Should we do it now?
Yeah, go for it.
You know what? We're gonna tease that bitch. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, Dork Shared Gooniverse and Geeks Worldwide Radio proudly present to you the greatest podcasting team in the world. He's the Fry Guy, Nick Friar. I'm the Backcracker, Dr. Joe. Together we are the TLDR Comic Book Club, baby. Nicholas, who did we just talk to?
Well, you all know Rodney Barnes is a friend of the show. We've had him on a time or two. Now we've had him on 3 times. And we also had the pleasure, Joe and I had the pleasure of being joined by Jason, Sean, and Alexander. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if Rodney's ever going to come on the show again because we had Jason, Sean, and Alexander on the show. My goodness, Joe.
That was tremendous. And it was what, I mean, I like to think, and I'm still a novice in all this when it comes to interviewing people, and I still get nervous every time we do so. But we've had a lot of repeat guests, and I feel as though we always have a good rapport with whom we're talking to, and we get a lot of just great organic, off the cuff either questions or responses, or we kind of go down these roads. But this was one of the more wild chats that we've had, and it was great because Rodney was on fire. Jason was giving it right back. I snorted at one point, which man, I was howling. It was. I can't wait for this one to drop, and I can't wait for everyone to listen to it because we talked a lot about, it was exclusively to talk about Killadelphia issue 30 that Nick and I, talked, spoiler free about last week, and we dive into spoilers, baby, in this chat. But it was just so much fun, and I had an absolute blast with it. And I mean, I love them all, and I love everyone that we talked to, but this one in particular, just it was a good one.
We are definitely, like, when it comes to our interviews, there is a lot of recency bias every time coming off, and we're always like, that was amazing, that was great, that was one of the best ones we've ever had, the best one we've ever had, whatever. But I'm telling you guys, like, this one was because we talked. First of all, Rodney, like you said, Rodney was in one tonight. It was amazing. I don't not to timestamp this. And I do want to let the people know who are watching us on the live stream. Normally, we drop fireside chats in the past on Wednesdays, but we're kind of going to start mixing things up a little bit because when we have stuff that's not related to that new comic book day, we don't want it to get muddied up and everything. Fridays are a slow day when it comes to the comic world, so this is going to be dropping on Friday instead of our What's New. Just kind of seems to make more sense on our end, and I think for the listeners. But when it comes to so Rodney was on fire. We got a ton of awesome stuff, for Killadelphia moving forward, but also the again, spoiler alert, the Spawn stuff, like getting some behind the scenes understanding of how that came to fruition and everything. I don't think it's been talked about anywhere else, so this is the first time you're going to be able to hear it. So some wild stuff, and also I believe the first time Jason Sean Alexander has talked about his work that's upcoming on DC Comics for Detective Comics. I'm like, as soon as he said it, Joe, I'm like checking my other computer. I'm like, this is the first time this is being talked about, right? I haven't heard anything anywhere yet.
Yeah. He'll be working with Rom. He didn't give us much more than that, right?
Nope.
And then Rodney dropped a little nugget.
Yeah.
So you'll have to listen. Absolutely fantastic.
You know what? Rodney usually sticks around afterwards, and I know Jason had to go, but I bet you Rodney didn't fucking stick around any longer because you threw out your guess of who you think he should write from like the DC world, because we got a hint it's going to be in Gotham related. I'm just excited for Rodney to do it, but if it's who you think it is and who I thought of first as well, Joe, I'm going to lose my fucking shit.
Oh, I'm going to take a victory lap, much like you should, sir, for your prediction on the NBA MVP.
Damn straight. Oh, that's going to be coming up. I've been all year, have not wavered on Joel Embiid being the MVP. Like it was no, like come on, like it's just Jokic 3 years in a row. It's only happened 3 times. He's not won anything outside of MVP. You can't give him to him 3 times in a row. But enough about that. Also, I was surprised to learn that Rodney is a Warriors fan. Had he told us that before? I didn't know that.
No, right? Because we've had him on before, and he's talked Lakers. I mean, he was the producer of Showtime
Yeah.
on HBO,
Yes.
right? So
That blew my
maybe
mind.
he's mad. Well, I'll say this: this is just complete speculation on my part, but I know there was pushback from the Lakers, from who's the coach
Yeah,
there,
I know what you're
right?
talking about. There was a
Pat
whole
Riley. There was stuff. So
yeah.
I'd be a Warriors fan too. If
Yeah,
you're being honest.
that's fair. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun talking with Rodney, talking with Jason. Some really great insight into their process. Learning about within reason about what's kind of going on with Killadelphia moving forward. Without I think getting into too much spoilers. They do a really good job of like talking about it, but also still managing to talk around the title. So I'm excited to go back and re-listen to that, honestly, Joe. So again, we're talking about all this, and if you're only watching us, if you only watch us on YouTube or only watch us on Twitch, the only place you can find our Friar Side chats are over on our audio channel. So whether it's Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Geeks Worldwide, SoundCloud, make sure you subscribe there because you're going to get all our episodes, not just the Friar Side chats, delivered to your listening device. But that is the only place you're going to be able to hear this. So if you like to watch us, hey, I don't blame you. I like looking at Joe once a week too. But if you want to hear those conversations, that's the only way you're going to do it. Make sure you subscribe to the show. And then please do leave a 5-star rating and review. And of course, if you have like 10 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure it's 10 stars. Highest rating. Otherwise, you're going to learn the real meaning of back record. I can promise you guys it is not a great thing. But let's get to catching up, Joe, so we can get to the new comics that are out this week. Enough of the plugging, as you like to put it. So I starting to dig back into Gun Honey, Blood for Blood. The collected edition is available on Hoopla. This is the second volume. We had Charles Ardai on the show a while back. Reread the first issue. Also read the second issue. Did you stay on top of this second volume?
Oh, you're damn right I did. It was fucking excellent. What's taking you so fucking long?
I don't know. I think I think Joe, it was coming out in the middle of my move, like maybe the second or third issue, so it kind of threw me off. Yeah. But what about you?
I still have to hide the covers, but yeah, was excellent. Excellent.
Dude, I was reading it on the train actually. I'm like reading on the train into the office, and I'm like, fuck, is nobody by me, right? Like even the interior page is just like, I gotta be really careful here. I'm like,
yeah, there's a lot of full bush in some of those panels.
Yeah, among other things.
Yeah. So I caught up on Ambassadors issue 2 and 3 from Image Comics, written by Mark Millar. This is a series with the first book. Like, okay, I like where this is kind of going. Issue 2, in issue 3, really, really kick it up. So this is one I'm looking forward to talking about on the show at some point. TMNT, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, issue 3. I'm going to tell you, like, I flat out just skipped all of the baby turtle stuff, all the young turtle stuff, just completely, flipped through. And even then, the main story is it's not real engaging, unfortunately, and I feel like I got the realization from this. I don't know why I just got it with this particular issue, where I feel like this entire book's sole purpose is to just pump out, get ready for the next series that's inevitably going to be the Young Turtles. Right. And it's a bummer because there's a really great story. There's the potential for a really great story here with that time that we get, right leading up to where we start The Last Ronin. And it's just been not a great book, unfortunately. I'm going to see it through to the end, but like, it's a slog. And then lastly,
I haven't read it yet. That's too bad.
Yeah, it's a slog. And it's just like, but anyways, there were some good moments in it, but just Anyways, Darth Vader issue 32, which leads us to what's new this week on New Comic Book Day of 5/3 in the year of our Lord 2023 from Marvel. This week we have Darth Vader issue 33. So I'm all caught up there. Man, this series just gets better and better and better. I absolutely love it.
Nice.
Moon Knight issue 23, Immortal X-Men issue 11. We have Spider-Man issue 8, Star Wars issue 34, Scarlet Witch issue 5, Star Wars Dr. Aphra issue 33, Yoda issue 7, Doc Fix It, I mean Joe Fix It issue 5, The Avengers War Across Time issue 5, Edge of the Spider-Verse issue 1, Carnage Reigns Alpha issue 1, Spider-Man 2099 Dark Genesis issue number 1, The Cult of Carnage Misery issue 1, Lando issue 1, Groot issue 1, Demon Wars Scarlet Sin issue 1. And if that was not enough, folks, remember the 5th of November. No, this week is Free Comic Book Day. This Saturday, May 6th. So go to your local comic shop. There's a lot of these publishers are putting out some really great books. If you've got kids and you want to introduce them to stuff, there's gonna be a lot of really great books, for kids and young
Philadelphia.
adults. Yep. So yeah, you get your 6-year-old Killadelphia. You're gonna or West of Sundown.
That's right. Well, you know what? I'm going to do that before I go to my nephew's communion on Saturday. I'm going to make sure I stop into the shop, get him Killadelphia, wrap it up real quick, and say, "Hey, I know you've been loving Sonic the Hedgehog that I've been getting you. Here's the next book you should read, Killadelphia.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Uncle of the Year right here. I'm coming for that crown, baby."
Psh, 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 get out of here. But Free Comic Book Day books from Marvel. We have Avengers X-Men issue 1, Spider-Man Venom issue 1, Marvel Voices issue 1, which is an anthology series. And then again, for the little ones in your life, Spidey and His Amazing Friends issue 1. Swaggins loves the cartoon. I'm definitely bringing her with me on Saturday to pick up some books. So I'm going to have this one put aside for her so she can grab it. But that is what we have from Marvel this week, Nicholas.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to read Immortal X-Men, but I am very excited to dig into that. I looked at the first couple pages. Looks like it's going to be Storm-centric, so I'm excited for that. As for DC this week, so we got The Flash 798, Poison Ivy issue 12, of course, a series that I talked about previously on the show. Started out, I believe, as a maxi and then turned into ongoing. If not, started out as a mini, turned into a maxi, and then became ongoing. But an awesome series there. Excuse me, Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duo issue 7. John Kent, which you are reading. The third issue of that is out this week. Joker, Man Who Stopped Laughing, issue 8. Dawn of DC, We Are Legends, special edition, issue 1. Shazam, issue 1, which is the Dan Mora drawing series. Neither of us got a chance to look at that. Mark Waid as the writer on that one. I am going to be checking that one out. For Free Comic Book Day, we got Dawn of DC, Night Terrors, issue 1. Clark and Lex Fan Club, Batman Squad issue 1, and Girl Taking Over, a Lois Lane story issue 1. Then we each have a book that we want to dig into that came out from DC this week. Why don't you tell us a little about the one that you want to talk about?
Okay, so Batman issue 135, which is also Legacy issue 900. So I went to Newbury Comics. I grabbed my cover. I was hoping to get one of. So there's a always for Batman books, there's a ton of variant covers, but they had these awesome special foil cover ones of various bat symbols, and I was hoping to get my hands on a couple of those, but Newbury didn't have them. But I got a really awesome, I believe it's Gabriel Del Auto cover with Batman and Poison Ivy on it. But anyways, this is a big issue. 135, it's a big issue in terms of where we are in Chip's current arc, but 900, that's a big deal. So Chip's sort of been teasing, that there's going to be a lot of fun stuff in this issue. And it sort of wraps the current arc, but kind of leaves it on a bit of a cliffhanger. But what this issue does really well, and it was really fun to see from, not just a storytelling perspective, but from an art perspective, was because this was 900, they really paid homage to literally every single Batman property that has existed throughout time.
Damn.
So you get art panels because right now there's this whole there's a lot of multiverse stuff going on, and Batman getting pinged around the multiverse. So he gets pinged into the Batman the Animated Series world.
Oh, cool.
He gets pinged into Batman Beyond world. He gets pinged into Adam West's Batman. Michael, right? So you think of all those different Frank Miller's Batman, right? It was so cool to see. And it was a really fun issue. And it was more than just sort of being this, okay, 900th legacy issue. Let's just, do a bunch of fun stuff and not have it really, be impactful in the story. No, like it fit perfect. It was a great way to do this particular issue because it sort of ended the current arc. But to be, the end question mark. So we'll kind of
Mm,
see where things go. But excellent stuff.
nice. That's wow. That sounds like even if you haven't been reading Chip's run, that maybe this is a book worth picking up for everybody.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah. Now, for me, I have a first issue that I wanted to talk about. Now, we did touch on this a little bit during our solicit for the month of May, and obviously, we were both excited because we saw Kyle Starks is writing this series. Peacemaker Tries Hard, issue 1. Now, this is a DC Black Label series,
Oh,
and
nice.
the artist on this is Steve Pugh, and then colors by Jordi Belair, who obviously does a great job, and then letters by Becca Carey, who we've seen a lot of Becca's work for the Massiverse.
Mm-hmm.
But the art, so Steve Pugh's art for this is like fits perfectly with both Kyle's writing and this character, like Kyle's like style in general, like the very like comedic and everything, but also this character in general. Like there is like this epic actiony bit to it, but also at the same time, like it's a little it's like a different slight sidestep from that, like not like definitely not like the traditional like I don't know, it has like a humor to the art as well, as much as it's very clean and tight and everything like you normally would get from a DC or a Marvel. But I'm telling you, man, the writing, like Kyle, like exactly what we expected. Like I thought he was going to kick ass on this. This was like a perfect superhero for Kyle Starks to be writing, and or villain, super anti-hero, however you want to look at Peacemaker. I guess more anti-hero. But my God, this issue has it all. This is like you're spending a little time with Peacemaker in the character and how outrageous he is. Then you have an interesting plot that kind of makes sense for the character, and then you get at the end this thing that really pushes you into the next issue. And I was honestly like, I don't need this. Like it's awesome. It's awesome, but like I don't need this. Like all of it was, this whole issue was great from start to finish, and then the ending is just like I cannot wait for the second issue of this series. Like honestly, Joe, I've been
You calling
waffling,
dibs?
calling dibs. I was thinking about it back and forth as we were talking about Batman. I was like, I got to do it here.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds great. So I didn't get a chance to read this because I had a feeling you wanted to. So, that's awesome. We don't do enough Black Label because
There's not so much. I mean, it's not like we get a
yeah,
ton.
they need to do more Black Label stuff because I think that's some of DC's best stuff.
It's a safe way to talk about the characters in like in a way that's like Elseworldy kind of, and also giving like adults, something else where it's not all related to just like the main DC, which I get how that's important and whatnot, but I just don't know. Like for you and I talk about all the time, like we don't always want to get in on the events. So that's what kind of can push us away at times from a DC or a Marvel.
Well, Black Label's a perfect place for a character like Peacemaker because you can let him be off the walls. You can kind of take him to some places that you wouldn't necessarily take a DC character because it's got to fit within a certain age restriction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Peacemaker, like a Deadpool or like a Red Hood, you can kind of take to some really far out extreme places.
Yeah.
They wouldn't necessarily be able to do on a mainline DC book, but Black Label, you could, I wouldn't say complete carte blanche, but you can get away with a heck of a lot more. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the perfect place for them.
And one quick thing, just to wrap things up on Peacemaker, I was saying about the art. It's not the line art that is different. That like I wouldn't say that feels more like the normal superhero stuff. It's Belair's colors, because those the colors I couldn't put my finger on it before. That is what makes it feel like a Kyle Starks book. That so,
Mm.
and I think everybody who reads like Joe and I do, I hate this place, which the 8th issue of that is out this week. This is big Kyle Starks week. It has like a similar color palette. Peacemaker does too. I hate this place, but we'll
Love that.
get to that more later. But let's talk about Image.
Yeah. So from Image, a light week from Image. We have Radiant. I'll get to that in a second. We have Love Everlasting issue 7, Blood Tree issue 4, Almighty issue 4, Junk Rabbit issue 2, hey kids, comics, schlock of the new issue 2. And then from new for free comic book day, we have the Sacrificers issue 1, and then one that I'm looking forward to, Fish Flies issue 1, written by Jeff Lemire. This appears to be, like I said last week on the solicit, a preview of his new book dropping in June. So very much looking forward to that. So why don't we, Nicholas, start with Radiant Black here. Radiant
Yep.
Black issue 24 dropped this week, and I got to tell you, I I had to kind of go back and reread a couple things because this one got trippy.
It did get very, very trippy. Before we get into the actual content of the story, cover A by Eleonora Carlini, who I believe has done these few of these kinds of covers for the Massiverse, where you have like that huge streak of light and this kind of like big explosion, everything going on. I absolutely love the cover of Radiant Black issue 24. But yes, this issue is very, very trippy. But the big thing for me is, again, where we try and respect spoilers and everything, the developments that happen in this issue is some stuff that we knew was going to have to be addressed at some point. A couple things that we knew was going to have to be addressed, and then definitely like confirmation of something that I've been suspecting with Radiant Black for some time now. Don't want to specify on what that is. If you guys have listened enough, you maybe we can put the pieces together. But it's like there's a lot of stuff brewing. I thought visually this is an absolutely mind fuck of an adventure. We have, of course, the artist on this one is Marcelo Costa, and then the colors Igor Monti. But an absolute wild experience in that regard. But moving the plot forward and addressing things that I know that I've been kind of waiting for Kyle to touch on, in particular, pretty heavily.
Yeah, it was a fairly emotional issue too.
Yeah, it was. That's a good point.
And we get bits of that in Radiant Black, but I think what's made Radiant Black so great, over the past, year plus, is getting to know these characters, and their flaws. But it's been a very actiony book, right? And you get some great action panels, you get great storytelling, but we don't really get a lot of those in depth character studies, and we get that here, and it all, like you said, it's sort of like you kind of see it coming, but it's the way that it's done. It's how Kyle pulls it off. It was spectacular, and it's really like I thought this issue took Radiant Black to the next level,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it added that
Mm-hmm.
extra layer to it where you've got Nathan and Marshall and everything that is coming now. It's just like, man, you want to talk about propulsion.
Yeah.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent stuff.
And it's also like this is the last fucking thing that these characters need right now.
Yeah.
As readers, we fucking want it all, but for the characters in the story, it's like nope, not ideal timing on all this
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, it was really really good issue. So yeah, Radiant Black 24, and then there was also a first issue from Image that you wanted to dig into a little bit, Joe.
Yeah, so we talked about this last week on the solicit, and that is Star Signs issue 1. And if you could pull up the writer and the artist for me, I forgot to write it down. I should have.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one that sort of the synopsis sounded interesting, but I didn't know going into it if it was going to be in my wheelhouse or not. Like I said, like the concept of it sounded cool, but a lot of times, like you can fall for the synopsis. We go, oh, this is not a book for me. This is different than I thought it was going to be.
Mm.
But I enjoyed it very much, and so the book sort of starts off. The premise of it is the constellations, the stars in the sky disappear, and we're introduced to a character, and some time's gone by since this has happened, and trying to figure out what it means. Like everyone is living in this world. They all look up in the sky and all the stars are gone, but nothing has really changed. And then something happens. And at that moment, I go, I'm in. This is excellent. There was a few writing tropes in there that aren't always my favorite. I wouldn't say like forced jokes or anything like that, but like overall it was very solid. And I like where the story is going. I thought the art was really really solid as well. So It did its job. It hooked me in. I don't know if this is a TLDR book yet, but
Mm,
I would say that it's possibly trending that way.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
nice. And the
yeah,
the writer on this is Saladin Ahmed, and then the artist is Megan Levins.
yeah, yeah. Very, very solid first issue. We'll see what issue two, brings and where it goes from there. But I was very pleasantly surprised because, like I said, I didn't know if this was going to be a book for me or not, and it's got really good potential, man.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. That's it for Image this week, of course, from Skybound, who prints through Image. We got The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 62. And as I mentioned before, I Hate This Place issue 8. There is another Kyle Starks book that's out this week that I will be touching on. We got Star Wars, The High Republic Adventures issue 4. How do you like them apples, Joe? Star Wars, The High Republic Adventures, The Namesake Terror issue 3, Star Wars Hyperspace Stories issue 5, Skull and Bones Savage Storm issue 3, Survival issue 1 from friend of the show, Sean Lewis. Of course, I talked about this on the show during our solicit. Did you get a chance to check it out, Joe?
I sure did. Oh man. Oh, that was excellent.
Yeah,
Oh man, it was so good. It was we've had Sean on the show a few times, and the array of stories that Sean, has written, Above Snakes, Bliss, Thumbs, Coyotes, right?
a few.
They're the few, right? Like I feel like this is a bit of a departure from what we're used to with Sean. It still has all the classic like Sean Lewis great storytelling, you know, um, the way he tells his story.
Mm,
Um, but there was a violence to this
yes.
book, man, that I absolutely loved. And I think you said it last week, like Sean always picks like, whether it's Caitlin Yarsky or it's Hayden Sherman, not Hayden Christensen, like two very, very distinct uh, art styles that, like when you think of like, to me, when you think of traditional like Marvel, DC superhero comics, like those two like don't fit that mold, but they're excellent at what they do.
Mhm.
With Survival, the artist gives you more of that sort of like comic booky, that Marvel, DC kind of feel to it. So just everything about it seems like a little, little off the beaten path for what Sean does, but it's excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I know we didn't highlight this one to talk about because you talked about it last week, but I had to just say something about it real quick because I read this and go, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got
Yes.
crazy action to it, but then it's like there's also a problem. Like there's the larger problem of like life and death that's going on, but then there's the whole family aspect and everything that's
Hmm.
going on there that's very, very uncomfortable. And I
Yeah.
am very excited to read the second issue because of that, just as much as I am the action.
A lot happens, but a lot also doesn't happen, if that
Mhm.
makes sense, right?
Yes.
Like it just everything just kind of happens in a big in a flash, and there's still so much to unpack. So where he's gonna go and where he's gonna take this is it's gonna be fantastic.
Yep. And then for Free Comic Book Day from Dark Horse, we got Star Wars, The High Republic Adventures, and Avatar, The Last Airbender, issue 1. And then we have something that, of all the books that I think you and I got to pick up, okay, maybe, the Image ones, the Fish Flies, Lemire one, maybe. But Umbrella Academy and The Witcher, issue 1, I'm curious what this is. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I have no idea either. I'm picking it up.
Yep.
That's for damn sure. I mean,
Yep.
my feeling is they sort of teleport and end up in the Witcher world, right?
That'll be fun.
And see how that goes. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun one for sure. For sure.
And then we have two books from Dark Horse that we want to talk about this week. I'll go first here. Aside from Survival, of course, Where Monsters Lie, issue 4. And I believe when we had Daniel Shaban on the show a while back, along with Kara O'Neill, that he had said that Where Monsters Lie was gonna like the final issue is the fourth issue, and then we'll see where things go from there. Which we do see with with Boom and other companies. Sometimes they'll just do a certain amount of issues, like a set amount of issues, like for a first arc, and then if it does well, move on from there and so on. Don't want to get into like too much detail because this is a book probably like whenever our next mainline episode is, I will talk about this on the show, but I will just say that I was happy with the ending. And I cannot wait to tell you more about this when I get the chance to, Joe. Of course, I'm not going to be touching on the end of this arc, but I am like I will say like it's very satisfying, and it only further confirms that like this was 100% a TLDR worthy book, and I am so glad I called dibs on it. Like 2 seconds into looking at this book, because this is absolutely a cannot miss series for anybody who likes comics at all, like, and especially if you like horror, and if you obviously if you dabble in indies.
Love that. Love that. I can't wait for you to talk about it because I can't remember what it's about now because you called dibs on it so fast. I had no chance to read the synopsis.
That's good. Well, like Rodney says, it's like what is it? Comics are like I can't fucking remember. It's because they're month to month. He made some fucking analogy. Anyways, so anytime I think Rodney, I'm going to think of how much he hates Jason Sean Alexander. Anyways, you had a book from Dark Horse that you wanted to touch on as well.
Yeah, so I talked about Hairball issue 1 and just how twisted it was and how much cats are assholes. And man, this second issue, it was fucked up, man.
Really?
And like the first issue, like just sort of gave you this macabre feeling. Like there was an uneasiness. Like you look at this cat, and this cat, like the way it smiles and like interacts with the young girl, like made you feel uneasy. And then you read the second issue, and I can't tell you how many times I said, "What the fuck?" Oh God, right? This was creepy, man. And where it's going, like if I was on the fence about this being a TLDR book, man, I think I am all in now. 'Cause I need to see where this goes. Like I am so flipping hooked. Mostly, and I love animals, and I'm a cat guy now,
We're
right?
both cat owners, yeah.
Right. And
Cat
so,
dads.
and I love that little guy, but the cat in this book is a fucking psychopath. And there's something going on, and there's a lot more like going on with the little girl in this story. So it's like it's horror, it's creepy, it's macabre, it's uneasy, it's unsettling, and I am all for it.
So are you calling dibs?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you called it after the first issue or
I
not. I
can't
couldn't remember.
remember. I can't remember if I did or not, but I am now. So
Yeah, because I don't think he did, but I didn't read the first issue yet, so I mean it's on me. But I do think I might pick this one up for the missus, because she does enjoy
oh.
animal comics, and seriously even the violent ones.
Yeah,
Um, I'm like I seriously got chills as you were talking about it. I'm
yeah.
very
She'll be like,
excited.
whoa. You
Hey,
may not want to be a cat owner ever again. Let's put it that way.
oh man. Okay, so let's see. We only got one more book that you and I wanted to dig into. So let me blow through all these other these other companies
Phrasing.
first. All right. Well, no, I did it on purpose. Anyways, TMNT Usagi Yojimbo issue 12 is out from IDW this week, along with My Little Pony issue 12. What did I say? What?
It's TMNT Usagi Yojimbo issue 2, not 12.
Issue 2 of that, then My Little Pony number 12. Boom. Got it. Awesome. Breath of Shadows issue 4, which Joe is reading along with the TMNT Usagi Yojimbo issue 2. Free comic book day. We got TMNT issue 1, Star Trek Day of Blood issue 1, which is an interesting choice. Star Trek DS9, The Dog of War issue 2, also available. And then we got we already mentioned Skybound from Vault. We got Godfell issue 3, and then free comic book day for Vault. I'm surprised they didn't go with Barbaric, but West of Sundown. I know you like that series a lot, so
Yeah.
solid choice, Bill.
Yeah, and no one's hotter right now than Tim Seeley. He's got his many fingers and many pies, and he's
Mhm.
writing a lot of really good books right now. And this has been one of them.
And then from Ablaze, we got Animal Castle issue 1 for free comic book day. Definitely worth picking up. Then go and get the trade, so that way you can start reading Animal Castle volume 2. Issue 1. We do not get review copies from Ablaze, but I'll tell you what, we got a lot of books that we really, really liked from this week, but I still think that's what I'm most excited to get in my hands this week from New Comic Book Day. We also have, Joe, Boom Studios. We got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Lost Summer issue 1 for free comic book day. We got Ranger Academy issue 1, and then Mech Cadets Special issue 1. But to close things out, Joe, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT Volume 2, Issue 5, the final issue of this story. What did you think?
Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it.
Yeah.
Where I felt like the first 2 issues were a little predictable.
Mm.
You get to issue 3, and then the way it wraps up, like from that point on, like it flipped the script. Ryan Parrott did a tremendous job with it. Dan Moore's art has been absolutely incredible. But like the fact that you had the turtles teaming up, with Shredder, that's not a
Mhm.
spoiler. That happened in
No, that
previous
was a
issues.
while ago. Yep.
I thought was a great storytelling device, and just everything that happened, the conclusion it came to, and setting up for the inevitable third volume.
Mhm.
Can't wait, man. This was just, again, this is one of those series where you just like, as I think as a casual comic book reader, if you're scanning the racks and you see this, you might go, that TMNT, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I don't know. It's probably going to be
Mhm.
silly. It's anything but. It's fucking excellent. It's one of those
Yep.
books. You see it, grab it, you read it, go, yes, this is everything I wanted, right? And it just kicks ass. And Moore's art, man, the thing he did
Dude.
with the turtles becoming Rangers, and the Rangers becoming mutants, it was excellent,
Dude.
excellent.
The I mean, we've talked about it before, how there are a lot of, like, in the first arc, I ended up getting the Shredder Green Ranger mashup. Like, I got that action figure, absolutely fucking loved it. But in this, the second, and obviously the turtle mashup was the Rangers too, which were cool ones, but that was the one I wanted to get. And then you look at this one and it's like, dude, I don't know. Like, there's quite a few that you could pick up out of this series, and they're so freaking cool. And to me, obviously Dan Moore's art like stands out, and he does an outstanding job. But what I think is so mind blowing for me too is not only has Ryan, like, he's already shown many a time how good he is at writing Power Rangers, but now we see how a good a job he can do with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too. And I know it's crossover and everything, but I'm just thinking, why would we not try and go down this path at some point and have Ryan go and write a TMNT story, like for mainline or whatever? Because he does a really good job with them too. So I really thought, like, the second volume, just as good, if not better, than the first one. Great action, of course, getting Dan Moore in the mix, awesome stuff. So very excited, like very happy rather with the way this thing ended. And apparently Swaggins is too.
It was an excellent issue, man.
All right.
Can you say goodnight, kiddo? Yeah. She's
Uh, what's gonna
she's
happen?
backing away slowly.
When's she gonna have her own podcast? What happened to this?
We're working on that. We're working on it. Swaggins Productions.
Okay. Well, anyways, that is going to do it for what's new this week. Of course, this is coming out on New Comic Book Day, which we normally haven't done in the past, but again, we're trying to mix things up a little bit. If you're listening to this now, whether it's your audio device or while we're streaming it, make sure that you go and subscribe to the audio channel so that you can get the Friar Side Chat with Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander, the co-creators of Killadelphia, talking spoilers galore about the latest arc that just wrapped up recently, excuse me. But until next week, Joe, for you and I, stay sexy.
You know it.